Hi everyone, it's Allison,
And Lorika, we're back.
and we're back with another video. And today we would like to talk to you about what we did with food on our cancer healing journey.
Right. Yeah, we were talking about this and we both had, our three top things were pretty much the same as far as, what we did food wise on our healing journey and what we thought was most important for you all to hear about. Um, so I guess we'll start with our number one. Our number one was juicing, right, Allie? We both did a lot of juicing.
Yep.
I know you especially. I'll maybe let you take that one to start with, since I know you did a lot, especially like the first year.
Yeah, so I did a lot of juicing and I started out by going to Hawaii and I was on a Gerson therapy retreat there for a month. And that's basically how I started on this whole natural healing journey. And for those who might not know what Gerson therapy is, it's basically what it amounts to is 13 juices per day. And they're mainly green apple carrot. And the reason why green apples are used versus red apples is there's more sugar in the red apples. And I've talked about this before as far as like fruit and sugar. Some people get really freaked out about the sugars in fruits because sugar feeds cancer. But in this particular protocol, anyway, green apples are used. So it's mainly like green apple carrot, and there are a few green juices.
Right.
So I did that for the first month, and as well as like mostly raw food. There is some cooked food on the Gerson diet. Um, yeah. So then when I came home, I continued juicing on my own, and I still did a lot of green apple carrot, but I also did a lot of beet juice and just various other juices as well.
Right. Well, and I just want to add, I know we're talking about juice, but when you say sugar feeds cancer, for any like folks that are kind of new to the natural path, not all sugar is equal. So, and I know we both agree on that too, like, fruit sugar, the natural sugars in like plant foods are not the same as sugar. But yeah, in a lot of cases, people still encourage you to go towards like, say, a green apple over a red apple. But not everybody is in agreement on that in the natural health community either. So I just wanted to point that out. Um, but yeah, I think juicing is so powerful, and I continue to juice off and on for multiple days at a time. And I'm getting ready here probably to do another one. I'm going to try to push it a little further and go a little longer. But I use juicing pretty strategically, but it was really intermittently, throughout since my diagnosis, and then to this day I still use it, and I just find it really helpful in cleansing the body. It's helpful in helping to detox the body, and it's really gentle because it's still giving you, a lot of nutrients. It's giving you a lot of energy, but yet, it's not taxing your digestive system. And that's the idea behind it, is it can really help you to clean things out while not overloading your digestive system, and giving you lots of nutrition to boot. So it's a really great tool, especially for people that can't tolerate more extreme measures, say in terms of like detox, like a water fast or something like that. A juice fast can be doable still for somebody that, say, can't tolerate a water fast in most cases. So anyway, something to try because it can be really powerful, and I know we've both had great impact from doing it. So
Yeah, I was gonna say about the same thing is that it helps you to detoxify while simultaneously giving you very good, powerful nutrition. So
right, yeah. And the second thing we were going to talk about is raw food. So I know we've both had a lot of raw food in the
yeah,
last several years. So I'll let you get started on that one too, Allie, since I'm kind of introing for us here.
yeah. So when I came back and I continued on with the juicing, a part of my strategy as well was a raw food diet. So I did that for an entire year. um, Towards the end of that year, I started to become anemic, and it was from some other things going on with me. It wasn't because of the raw food diet, but anyway, that's another side story. But that's why I eventually didn't continue to stick with the radical strict raw food diet. But anyway, yeah, so that was interesting because I mean, I was raised vegetarian, so it wasn't like a huge far stretch for me or like that difficult to do that.
Mhm.
I did miss cheese. I do have to admit I would get cravings for that sometimes, but yeah, it was an interesting learning process as far as like learning how to dehydrate, um, and just learning how to uncook, like using a food processor versus like putting it on heat.
Right.
Um, and just like at what temperature is it, are the live enzymes that are in the food like no longer there like once you cook it, so you can actually have make some soups in a blender that are still somewhat warm. I
Right.
can't remember exactly what the
Most
temperature is.
people agree it's about 118. Most people
Okay.
agree somewhere in
Mhm.
that zone anyway, within a few degrees. Yeah.
Yeah, I ate a lot of guacamole. I absolutely love guacamole, so I ate a lot of that with like carrots and celery and yeah. So I mean, that's kind of it in a nutshell as far as my raw food experience.
Did you do it for a certain period, or have you used it like, at certain times, or has it been kind of off and on, or?
Oh, you mean continuing on into now?
Right,
Oh,
right.
well, now I would say I'm probably, I don't know, 70% raw or something. And that's one thing that also I went to these raw food potlucks, and it,
Mhm.
it was almost kind of like this religion for people
Oh, it
because
is.
they
It
say
really
like, oh, well, what percent raw are you? And I'm like, well, I had coffee this morning. I guess I'm like 99%, and whatever. Because yeah, there were days where I would slip and I would have coffee or something. Because
right.
you just get these intense cravings sometimes. But anyway, yeah, so to kind of tell you, like, I'm probably about 70% in my diet now. So
How long were you 100%, or were you 100% for a while, or?
yeah, during the first year after my cancer diagnosis, I would say, yeah, that whole entire year I was
Nice.
very, very strict. Yeah.
Right. Well, my raw food journey has been kind of more gradual. I definitely have incorporated a ton of raw food, and from the get-go, right after diagnosis, once I became more educated, I increased my raw food intake. And but I was not as I was kind of strategic about it, but I was not as extreme, if you will, about it. I still ate a lot of cooked food and all of that, but as time went on, I increased it more and more, and I found, there was a lot of cleansing effect, similar to the juicing, where there's a detox effect that happens with raw food. It's just a little bit more gradual, and I find it, really helpful, and it increases alertness, and it
Mhm.
helps to just heal all kinds of problems in the body. So I really love it, and I have actually increased my raw food, over time, and I've been, 100% off and on, but I mostly stay somewhere around between 80 and 90% most of the time. Um, oh, my dog
No,
might.
that's okay. So yeah, I was going to say, like we were talking about the juices, like what are the benefits of raw food? And I had mentioned that there's live enzymes that are in the
Oh,
food that
yeah.
are not there when you cook the food. And
Exactly,
yeah,
exactly. Well, and most of us, some people might not know we have our own enzymes in our body to digest food, but a lot of us, especially as we get older, and especially if we have diseases like cancer, we aren't able to produce enough enzymes and the right enzymes to digest our food properly. So that can be a huge, a huge help, because, cancer is a metabolic disease. So, how we metabolize food and how it's used in the body, can make a big difference when we have those raw enzymes in the raw foods. So, um, okay, and then do we want to move on to our third one?
sure. I can't remember what it was though.
Well, we want I
Well,
think
we
we
eliminated.
agreed that we had taken things out of our diet and added things back in, which is kind of related. I think that was kind of our third thing was, and I might have a visitor, so I might have to say hello for a second, or I might just put my earbuds on for a minute.
Okay.
I think somebody's at my door, and that's why my dog was barking.
Yeah, so both of us are IIN graduates, and like one of the things
Right,
that concept that I really liked in that program is adding in and crowding out. So that's
right.
basically what you're talking about. Like what we added in was raw food and juicing, and what we crowded out or what we eliminated from our diet.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
what are some of the things that you eliminated?
Um, yeah, I mean, for me, I had eliminated, well, I had been a vegetarian for many, many years as well, growing up from the time I decided at like 15 that I was going to be vegetarian. And so I wasn't a big meat eater historically, but I had actually gone back to eating a little bit of meat around the time I was pregnant. And so I immediately decided, I just don't want to have, animal products. And I had already eliminated gluten. So that was another big deal for me. And I'd already experienced some, healing of some of my chronic illness issues, even prior to getting diagnosed with cancer from eliminating like gluten and dairy in particular. But yeah, I got rid of mostly all animal foods right out of the gate. It was a little bit gradual, but I think that was a tremendous help to me because it's just it's not that I think everybody should be completely vegan, but it's that I think it does help obviously the environment, but it can be really really helpful on a healing journey and to help the body to not use all of the energy that it takes to digest those heavy proteins, heavy fats, and all of that. So that was a big part for me. But I'd say grains, like refined grains, is other than the animal proteins and the dairy, refined grains has been like made a huge difference. Taking out refined grains, things like bread, and particularly the gluten-based ones, I'd say are really big.
Yeah. Yeah, same with me. Eliminating all animal products, refined grains, sugar, not
Mm,
not fruit sugar like we talked about, but
right.
white sugar. It's not even a food; it's a poison. So
Yeah.
definitely off the table.
Right.
Um,
Right.
and then I wanted to add about the what it is about the animal proteins. I mean, they I don't know if you know the China study, but it was like
Oh, I
one of
love that book. Yeah, that's a great book.
yeah, and basically it was like one of the if not the largest nutrition study that has ever been conducted. And
Right.
basically what they discovered is that animal protein fuels cancer.
Hmm.
So anyway, yeah, so if people want to know like, well, what's the problem with animal protein,
Right.
they
Yeah.
would
Yeah.
check that out. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, I recommend that everybody read that book. That's one of my favorites for sure, and it can be very eye-opening for people, especially that are kind of married to their animal proteins. um,
Well, yeah, as a matter of fact, I mentioned that to someone like when I
mhm.
was going through that. And this is a person that loved their meat, and
Right.
got angry at me. They're
Oh
like, "Oh,
yeah.
that's BS. That doesn't
Right.
cure cancer." And I told them about the book and everything. And some people they just don't want to hear, and
Yeah. Yeah.
they're not dealing with cancer either. So
Right.
it's
Right.
not.
We're otherwise motivated. We're a little bit more motivated than your average person is, right? Usually with that kind of stuff. So yeah, I would say, so what would you think that that's been the most important thing you've eliminated?
Yeah, I would say meat, sugar, refined grains. I mean,
Mhm.
we're kind of like
Right.
on the same page with that.
Right. I didn't mention sugar, but I think like junk food's kind of a given, right? Like,
Oh, anything
yeah.
processed. Yeah.
Right, right. Like packaged foods, I think is a big one that a lot of people don't think about. And I think, this is a little off topic, but eliminating packaged foods, it also takes away from having to, because a lot of people are like, well, what can I eat? What can I eat? Well, and I know they talk a lot about this in the nutrition school we went to too. It's like shopping on the outside of the grocery store where all the fresh food is, and not going in the inner aisles where they keep all the packaged stuff. But on top of that, you don't have to worry about reading ingredient labels and things like that and stressing about it if you're eating whole foods. You know what it is. It's a carrot, it's an apple,
Right.
versus reading a label on something packaged where it has all these additives and all these things that we don't identify, we don't know what they are, and we have no idea if they're doing damage in the body, and most of the time they probably are. um,
I think
so
gluten is a big problem too. And
right.
and even when people go gluten free and then they get the gluten free options, that's not necessarily any better, because
Right.
it's still packaged food and stuff. So
Right, exactly, exactly. Okay, so I think in the interest of keeping it short and sweet today, those are our tips for you guys, and those are the three things that we found helpful in food wise, just to kind of put it in a nutshell for you all. And because I think I have visitors in my house that maybe interfering with our noise here or our hearing here. I don't want to ruin this video, but did you have anything to add to end on, Allie? If not, we'll.
No, I think those are some
Okay.
good tips for today. And
Okay, great.
time for you to go anyway.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time, and hopefully there will be no noise interference next time.
Bye.
Bye.